Welcome to Snap-on Tools from the ground up, where we build insane Factory 5 machines utilizing the best tools in the business. And then we get to shred them at the track. We've built some awesome cars in the past, but this season, we're taking it to a whole nother level. We're actually not building the car at all. I'll let my friend explain. Joey, so good to see you again, man.
See you, man.
We are back at your awesome shop. Thanks for having us. To be quite honest, I'm excited about this build, and I know you are too.
Oh, this thing is next level. You know, Factory 5 has this awesome 35 Ford truck, and I thought the coolest idea was, let's put a cup motor in this thing, and made it up with a 6-speed sequential shifter.
So awesome.
Come on.
You want it to be inspired aesthetically by your Ford GT.
I thought, man, how cool would it be to have this sitting next to the GT with the same scheme?
This is a next level build, and a next level build requires next level tools.
Yeah, it does, and that's what we got here at Snap-on as well, to help us out and make sure all the Factory 5 guys got all the tools they need to put this thing together, because there's no telling what they're gonna run into when they're building this. It's fully custom.
We and the Factory 5 guys are gonna get to work, but we'll see you in a little bit.
All right, sounds good. Thanks.
Tony, we're back in North Carolina. We're at Joey's shop, and this is Joey Logano's new project car, and our project car.
It is. It's pretty beefy. I mean, he's got sidebars, full roll cage.
It's gonna look menacing, it's gonna look cool, but in its rawest form, this thing looks great. It's like a magnesium finish, right?
It is. It's something a little different we've never done. The floor pans are in, when they're usually not on our cars. Firewalls are in. They're all structural. So that's all incorporated, you know, for torsion to make it as stiff as you can possibly make it.
So talking about suspension, you start with the corners, but the way this is built.
This one's a little different. You're really squeezing in a dry sump system, which usually doesn't get put in these trucks. So that stuff's really tight, which has to clear over the suspension, the coilovers. So we're gonna do all that first. The actual motor mounts are the firewall. So the way the cup motor is set up, that's the way it needs to be.
Well, without further ado, first things first, let's get the engine in there.
All right, let's get this baby in there.
Got the engine up here, ready to drop it in, but this thing's special. We've used Ford power plants in previous project cars, but this is a cup engine.
We're Ford based, so we actually do a lot of Ford stuff. So seeing this go in the truck is pretty impressive.
This thing's gonna have AC.
It is. That was one of the conversations.
You're kind of cringing there.
It was funny because that was one of the conversations we had with Joey. Was he wanted windows? So I'm like, what's good having windows? And he's like, well, I kind of want AC.
Sick. Drivability, man.
He's got a cup engine with windows and AC.
That's bragging rights,
pretty
man.
cool. It's pretty cool.
All right, so seeing some familiar faces here from previous projects, who do we have?
We got Johnny, and he's our fabricator. He's pretty much welded this whole chassis up. He designed most of the chassis with Jim.
Will it hold? I'm kidding.
Of course, you got Jim.
Yep.
Jim's head of engineering. We got Chris. Chris kind of does everything for us.
And then Larry, local help.
Yeah, Larry works for Joey, and he's the man kind of in charge of this whole thing and getting it all done for us. He's the man.
Let's be honest. This is probably like $100,000 setup that we're looking at here,
yeah,
suspended above the chassis.
Yeah, you're looking at more than that with the sequential box.
But horsepower, we're looking at how much? What do you think?
About 800. I think it'll move it just fine.
Yeah, it'll be adorable. Larry, fire it up. Let's drop it in.
Let's do it. You want to grab one? I'll grab it in here.
All right, stick that on there.
Like a glove. What's that line?
Let it all the way down.
There you go.
That'll probably help Jim too.
Jim, engine's in. These motor mounts, they're hard mounts. No rubber, no bushings, no nothing.
Basically, everything except for the transmission is solid mounted. It actually helps keep the chassis more rigid. You know, makes it a little bit harder to get in, but once it's in there, it's not going anywhere.
Using this indexable ratchet here, tight tolerances, getting right in here. You could find your position, lock it in. Got a 12 point on this side, and then just tighten it up. And you could also do that as well.
Right,
so,
yeah, you can use it as a speed drive as well.
So speed drive, or you can lock it in just for those awkward kind of angles. This is the right tool for the right job. Glad you broke it out and handed it to me. This thing's great. There you have it, bud. talking about the steering rack. This whole front end from this bar forward is different. You're saying the steering rack normally is here, but because we want more angle, it's a drift truck,
Right.
we've now moved it up here.
Right, in order to get a steering rack that gives us both enough angle and the quickness we
Yeah.
needed, we had to get a custom rack made, and all we could find that in was a front steer. So the steering arms would normally be behind the axle, now they're in front. So everything's custom, really.
Right there. A lot of 12 points on this car as opposed to 6 points. So the ratcheting, just get it going.
They're double-ended, so you got a 12 and a 14, and you got a 13 and a 15, so they works pretty well.
Good length on it too, so you can tighten it down.
Yep.
Throw some thread lock on there. Flex head ratcheting wrench.
Oh, nice.
Is that high enough? You wanna go? Oh, we're gonna go all the way, huh?
This is actually a special render we have made for this truck because of the width of the truck. So this is actually casting from Mosier. So Mosier makes them specifically for us at this tube length.
And 3-link as opposed to a 4-link or anything like that, suspension-wise?
This actually is like a center section out of a Mustang, like a GT350. Uses the 3rd link from the Mustang, so we incorporate that.
And with it being a drift truck, is there anything different that you did with the diff?
411 2-track. Pretty tight spot, but
Yeah, and we're just knocking off the powder coat to make sure that everything goes in pretty easily. But you can see a tight space back there, the 3/8 drive, 2 speeds. You got low for the torque.
Different
and then-
material, yeah.
Yeah,
You
and
got-
then the higher speed just zip right through something.
Plus, it's got a variable speed clutch
Yep.
and direct drive. That's really nice. Lightweight, compact.
Yeah, 14.4 volt.
Got a nice non-slip grip on there.
Yeah, I mean, other drills might have these features, but if you got tight spaces when in close quarters,
Yeah.
this has got it all.
It does the job.
How many of the Factory 5 vehicles have AC, Tony?
some models have
Yeah.
AC. I've never done a full roll cage drift truck with a Roush Yates motor with power windows and AC.
$80,000 cup engine, sequential trans,
And hey,
windows and
let's
AC.
just do some AC.
I mean, we got all the corners on, engine, got the radiator, the fuel cell. There's some technical things, so I'm gonna bring Larry in here now. We wanna torque it down to the right specs. Larry, so you got the electric torque wrench here. Just like previous models, it has the vibration, the lights. Also, you could preset all your settings, so if you're running through an engine, but how critical is it to torque down, get all the right specs?
Well, you definitely don't want parts falling off on the track, so most manufacturers will recommend a spec, what it needs to be torqued to, and this digital torque wrench is the way to go. It goes from 6 1/4 pounds all the way up to 125.
Because previous went to 100 foot-pounds.
Right.
So now with 125, you can get all your standard wheels.
If it calls for a metric spec, it can go to newton meters, kilograms, foot-pounds, and inch-pounds. So pretty much whatever spec it calls for, this will handle it. One of the nice things about this is when you're doing it, it lights up when you get close to the torque. And if you can't see where you're at, it vibrates and it gives you an audible signal letting you know you've hit your torque. You don't want to over torque or under torque, so as soon as it beeps, you're on the money.
Right, you got a nylon nut, so you don't want to overdo it.
Right.
All right, well, we're moving right along. This thing's coming together. All right, Johnny, strapping on the headers, and you made these, bud.
Yeah, first time ever doing it.
Really?
Not too bad for first time, you know?
You're strapping them to an $80,000 cup engine, by the way.
Sure am.
Yeah, no big deal. All right, can you hold on to those real quick, and then we'll grab the gasket here. Got this tight access seat creeper here, which is pretty nice. Got all the working station. Also, the frame, you can actually get pretty close. I don't need to get this close, but that's how close you can get. So get a couple bolts going so you can hang the gasket. The oil-resistant wheels, they won't slip or slide, which is nice too. Dude, those things fit like a glove. Dude.
So I actually built them on the chassis. We had the motor, mocked them all up, cut it, took them apart, welded it, put them back on, sent them out, had them ceramic coated.
It looks good, man. That looks mean. I know you built the headers, you built the full exhaust?
Yeah, did the full exhaust. Mocked it all up on the car with the motor in place. Made the exhaust exit out the passenger side, leave room on the driver's side for those hoses.
There we go. There we go. Yep. Would you like to win a Snap-on Tools Indexable Ratchet? Be sure to like our page and then comment below on which one of the Snap-on Tools Factory 5 builds is your favorite. Then you can win a Snap-on Tools Indexable Ratchet.